For experiment 22, we are going to be using the Buret, which is this instrument right here. I'm going to move it closer so you can have a little bit of a look at it to start with. So it starts off at 0 at the top, goes to 50 over here at the bottom, and we have our stop here. And if we turn it so that it is parallel, like this, with the Buret, our liquid will run through and be delivered into our Erlenmeyer flasks. Now if we turn it perpendicular, it's shut off, and anywhere in between we can control the flow of how it drips. And this way we can see how much of our HCl is delivered into our flask. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we turn it perpendicular so it's off, and we are going to fill this. So we're going to pull it down low, not so low that it touches the bottom, but low enough. We're going to use a funnel. We'll put that up at the top. And then we are using 0.05 molar HCl. The best thing for us to do is to put some actually in a small container, which we already did, so we can pour it in. And it's okay if you over pour, so you're up near the top. We want to be above the 0, and then we'll eventually let some out so we can be right at the 0 for when we start. So we'll start filling. And I've already rinsed this Buret with the HCl. And sometimes if you notice it doesn't go so fast, you might have to open it. Okay, so we're above 0, which is great. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my catch container and remove our funnel. I'm going to move our Buret up slightly so I can put our container back underneath. Move it down slightly. And my goal is to have it resting on the 0. So I'm going to open it up, let it out little by little till the bottom of the meniscus, or the top of the meniscus right here, sits on the top of the line. So we're all set to go. What we're going to do now is get our samples ready to titrate. For our first trials, we are going to use our saturated calcium hydroxide right over here. And what we've done is we've let this settle down to the bottom, and we're just going to take the supernatant up top, and we want to make sure we don't get any of our solids. I have 325 ml Erlenmeyer flasks set up. I've numbered them 1, 2, and 3. And I have a 25 ml graduated cylinder ready to go. So we're going to fill each one with 25 ml of our saturated solution. So we're going to do that first. We just want to take the supernatant. So we're just going to take the liquid off top, being very careful not to get the solids. And I'm just using a 3 ml transfer pipette currently. That's what we have on hand. Now we're getting close to the top. Oops, sorry. So there we are. We're at 25 right there. So we'll put that in 1. We're going to do the same for 2 and 3. And the other thing we have to do is add a drop of our indicator. And our indicator here is methyl orange. So we're going to add 2 drops in. We'll swirl it. See how it's completely clear right now. And we're going to titrate this with the HCl. So we are going to do the same thing and set up the next two as well, and then we'll titrate. Each flask has now been prepared, so we have 25 mils of our saturated CaOH, so OH2 technically, our calcium hydroxide, and 2 drops of methyl orange indicator. You can see it's a faint yellow currently, and what we're going to do is we're going to titrate with our 0.05 molar HCl until this turns to a faint reddish orange color. We're going to go from yellow to reddish orange, and when that reddish orange color persists for 10 to 15 seconds, we've reached our end point. I have the Buret started at 0. You can't see it because it's all the way up at the top, past what we can see here, and I'm just going to read off the number where we stop. So that way, so our starting point right now on the Buret is 0 milliliters, and we will titrate number 1. So we're going to put number 1 in, and we're good to go. I'll try to move my hands out of the way so you can see. We're going to turn on, and we're going to swirl and go. And when we start to see that reddish orange color, we'll start to slow down. We're still yellow. Okay, so here we go. There's a little bit of a reddish orange just appearing, but it goes away as we swirl. So we want it to persist. So we're going to slow down, not go as fast. You can kind of see it coming. Hopefully, I'm going to let it sit just a second so you can kind of see it build up. Slightly in here, there's a reddish orange tint. It's very faint. Okay, there we go. Let's see if it holds for 10 seconds. We have reached our end point. Might be a little harder for you to see, so I'm going to move it up so you can see it. Okay, I'll put it next to the other one. See how this is yellow, and this is like a really faint pink almost. See if I can bring it up close. Again, it's probably not the best thing to see, but we have reached the end point. We're no longer yellow, we're a light pink, a faint reddish orange. And where we stopped in the Buret, I'm going to try to move the camera slightly so you can see it, or I'll just unhook the Buret actually. I'll try to bring this as low as I can go for you without touching. And then I'll move this up. So you can see on the Buret we're about here where we stopped. I still need to bring it up a little higher. We are here, and the level we're reading at the bottom of the meniscus. So here, this is 23, here's 22. Technically, we are right on 22 and a half, so 22.5 milliliters. So we started at 0 milliliters and we finished, so our end point, or our end, okay, is going to be 22.5 milliliters. 22.5 milliliters. What we're going to do is we're going to refill this Buret back to 0, so it'll be a little easier again. And then we'll titrate number 2. But here's number 1. It's a pink color, not yellow anymore. So to refill, we're going to take our funnel. We'll put it all the way up on the top. I'll try to reach up over there. We're going to take our HCl again, put it in. It's okay if we go past 0. I'm going to put this down here. because what we're going to do now is we're going to raise our Buret up. I'll put my cup back underneath, and we're going to release some of the HCl, so we hit back at 0 again. Okay, and we're starting back at 0 for trial number 2. So now that we're at 0, I'm going to lower the Buret. I'm going to lower the camera. So we're back down by our trials again. So hopefully you'll be able to see them. And we'll start number 2. And hopefully you can kind of see. Maybe I can try to change the brightness slightly. Not too bright. But this is more of a pink color, and this is yellow. So we're going back to try to get this pink color again. So we're back at 0 milliliters, and we're going to go and titrate. I'm going to go up a little higher. We'll pop this under, turn on and swirl. And again, we're still yellow. When you first start to see, there we go, that pink start to appear, we're going to slow down. We're at about 14 mils right now. But it goes away and it disappears and it's still yellow, so we need to titrate further. Hopefully you can kind of see it starting. And our goal is to get it where it persists, but we're still yellow. And we're almost there. I might have overshot that one. I did. We're a little darker, so I went like 2 drops too many. But that's okay. So here we are. Again, now we're still within the range, but you can see we're definitely darker. So I overshot this one. But that's okay. But you can see it, hopefully. This is pinkish, orange, red color. And if we're going to look at where the Buret is, so the reading, we started out at 0, remember? And our reading now, if we're back up to the Buret, is about right here. I'll pull this down. Our number here is actually at 23, right on the nose, so 23 milliliters. So we went from 0 ml to 23 ml. Okay, our last trial. So we have 1, 2, now it's time to do number 3. We're going to refill our Buret like we did before. Same thing. I like refilling it each time, just because it's easier to start at 0 and go from there. We'll overshoot a little bit. Now we're going to bring this up so I can put the glass underneath. And we're going to let this out until we get down to 0. And we're right on the 0 mark. So we'll go up just a little bit higher so we can put our third one in. And I'm going to move the camera back down so we can titrate number 3. Okay, we're going for that rosy pink color again. You can see we're yellow, but we want that pinkish orange red color. So we're going to go under So now we're in. And we know we're around 22 and 23. So we can just let this go for a while till we get close. You still want to swirl. We started seeing color develop around 14. Again, there's a little bit of pink starting. And we're going to slow down now that we hit around 20, around 18. But still yellow, the color fades away. So we're going to titrate longer. Color is fading. So we're going to go drop by drop. So we'll just turn it slightly so you can see it go one at a time. Here we go. And we'll try not to overshoot our endpoint this time. Okay. So it's just starting, but again, goes away. So we put another drop in, getting a little less yellow, but still stays. So we're going to go drop by drop, 1, 2, 3, 4 drops in. And there we have it. We are back to pink. I think. Let's stay. One more drop. There we go. So it's holding its color. We gotta see if it holds for 10 seconds. And it's still pink. We're no longer yellow. We're back to that initial really light rosy pink. And take this out here. I'll put it just next to the other one so you can see all that same color. And our reading on the Buret will go up just a little bit. I'll bring this down. Our reading here again is right at 23 milliliters. So 23 milliliters. For the second half of this experiment, we're doing nearly the identical thing. We have 3 more Erlenmeyer flasks. I label them 1, 2, and 3. They're all 125 milliliters. And we're going to put 25 mils of our solution in each one, and then 2 drops of our methyl orange indicator like we did before. But in this case, our solution now is a saturated solution of our calcium hydroxide plus calcium chloride. So we need 25 mils in each one. We don't want to get any of the solids, we just want to take the supernatant. So I'm just going to use what I have on hand right now, which is a 3 ml disposable pipette. I'm just going to grab the liquid above, and I have a 25 ml graduated cylinder. It's a little safer than trying to pour it in currently. And we're going to grab 25 mils for each one. And the important part here is to remember, as we're adding our solution in, is to squeeze the bulb before you enter, because you don't want to put air in and disturb the bottom. And we'll just fill this up. So we are right at 25 mils. And the other thing is, if you have excess liquid, we don't want to disperse it back in, because then we'll disturb the bottom as well. So we're just going to put this off to the side, sitting on the cap, pointed up, so our pipette tip is actually off and clean and not touching anything. So we'll put our 25 mils in, and then we'll do our 2 drops of our methyl orange. And again, we have that faint yellow color, and what we're going to do is titrate it till it gets to be that red. So I'm going to go do the rest for 2 and 3, and then we'll titrate like we had before. We are now ready to titrate. We have our samples 1, 2, and 3. Again, these are our 25 mils of our calcium hydroxide mixed with our calcium chloride. And we have 2 drops of the indicator in each one, and that we're using methyl orange. So we're going to go from this yellow color to a pale pinkish red orange color. We want the yellow to be completely gone, and the pink has to persist for 10 to 15 seconds. I have refilled our Buret, and we're back at 0. So the starting for trial 1 is going to be 0 milliliters. And we're going to pop this under, and we're going to start to titrate. So right now we're just starting to see our first hint of orange. It's around 10. But it goes away, but you can see it here. And I think, there we go. Oops. We hit our end point. So we have this pink color, a rosy, orangey pink color, definitely different from our yellow. Okay. And we hit our end point all the way. Let me take it so you can read it. I'll move you up, sorry. We're up here. So last time in our first 3 trials with just the calcium hydroxide, we were around between 22 and 23. Now we're over here, this is 18. We're below 18. This line here is 19. So we're going to lower it just a little bit to be at eye level to read. We are technically at 18.4 milliliters. 18.4 mils. So 18.4. We're going to do number 2 next. And what I think is going to be easier is if we refill our Buret. We'll put in our funnel. I'm going to bring it down so that we are starting at 0, which we are now. I'm going to move the camera back down. So there's our trial 1. You can definitely see it's different. We're going to put 2 in. We're starting at 0 mils. Again, we're starting at 0 milliliters. And now we're going to titrate. There's that pink, but it goes away. So we're going to go slower this time. Almost there, back to yellow, so it's not at 18. So we're just going to go drop by drop, see if we can get it. And there we have it. We are there. So we're now at a little lighter of a shade of pink. Not yellow, but we are pink. So we're a little closer to the end point this time. And again here we are at, this is, I'm going to move us out. Move you up. Sorry for shaking. Here is 18, here is 19. We are right back at 18.4. So there's the 18.5, and we are one line above it. 18.4. So let's move our next one in. And here, in this case, we're going to make you do some math. Our starting mill, so here, let me make it a little easier for you. We'll let a little out. We're going to start at 19. Okay? So we're starting our Buret now at 19 for trial 3. So for our third and final trial, what we're going to do is we're going to put our flask in. We're ready to titrate. Our starting mills are 19. So now here, instead of 0, we're starting at 19. When you go to take the difference, 19. And we're just going to titrate. Getting close. Almost there. Oh, okay, and there we have it. Almost blew past it. So, I think we can probably do one more drop in. Yep, we're pink. We've perfected each time. Now we're probably the lightest shade of pink. Here's our first trial, our second trial, and our third trial. And where we ended now, I'll just move you up. Remember, we started at 19. Here's where we're ending. And I can actually, we're going to read it. Here's 37, here is 38, this long line. Here is 37 and a half, so we're closer, but we are technically right down at 37.3. So 1, 2, 3 lines down, 37.3. Oops. So we started at 19 milliliters and we ended at 37.3.